Hi, this is Allie from Allie Katz Crafts. I'm here to bring you a tutorial on the June 2025 Full of Charm. You could get 9 cards, 3 different things out of the kit. I don't do those. I usually take and cut things apart and do my own thing. So I can get more. It's more for the challenge than anything, but I like doing it because I think that adding my own things kind of gives a little more character too. So this is the card we will be making today, and I'll be using the flap from the envelope. Last week, well, the last 2 videos, I did parts of it. I did this part for one, okay, and then I also did, I can't show you the card because it's almost done. So if you look at, I'll show you a full envelope. So here's the envelope. So the first card, I used this part, and I cut it down to fit on the front of my card. That was the first card. The second card, I used this part by cutting it down. This one, I'm using just the flap. So this is the outside, and this is the inside. The other things, the envelope, I just did something simple this time, nothing on the back. The other things that you will need to do this card, you will need an embossing folder. I use a 3D crosshatch. You will need the stamp set that comes alongside it. It's like, I don't know, it's like its friend or its company or whatever. But they try to have something that goes with each kit. And out of this, I'll be using this flower and this flower. Then I'm going to go to the beautiful bouquet, and I'm going to pull out the words Happy Anniversary right there. So I'll be using the wording from that. The other things you'll be needing is some ink. You'll have black ink. I just use VersaFi because it does all fine lines. You can use whatever you want. Stampin' Up! Has a really nice black one. You also need Granny Apple, Daffodil Delight, and Timid Tiger inks to do this. If you choose to use other colors, you can. You don't have to use this particular kind. You will also need some blending brushes and some daubers to do some blending. The other things that you will need, Wink of Stella and your markers from Stampin' Up! Or you can use whatever you want. It's up to you. The color you'll need is Daffodil Delight, Crumb Cake, Granny Apple, and Timid Tiger. You will also need your little taker pick, because you'll use this end to help you do stuff, scissors, and some embellishments. I chose to use diamond dots, the orange, to go with my color. And some dimensionals also. So I think that's about it. I'll let you know if there's anything more. Now over here in the top hand corner, I'll go over I have the card dimensions here. So the card base is white, and it'll be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but it starts out at 11 inches, and you just cut your folding it in half, basically. Okay? Envelope. You'll have your first layer, which is the orange. You can use Timid Tiger if you have that. So I just pick out something else I didn't have it right now. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that's when you're going to emboss it. See the embossing? I like that embossed one. You will then have your flap. And the way I did that, I will show you. So you want your flap at 1 7/8 by 5 inches. So what I did first was I made sure the top was straight, and then I took and I looked at it, and I started out by just cutting off the end here to make it, sort of work. So it'll be flat. Okay? So that's the very first thing. Just cut it off so that it's like, see how that looks nice and flat now? So now you will take this part and you're going to measure it out to right here, 1 7/8. So you're going to take this and put that in there and put it in there 1 7/8. You could also, if you look at it really close, it'll go right to the end of the thing, so there's nothing. Let me stick it up here so you can see. So see how I have it in there? You want it to go right to the end of this so it doesn't just so you want a flat edge, basically. So 1 7/8 is really close. If it's a little bit smaller or bigger, it doesn't matter. So now that you have that, now you will trim it down to where it's 5 inches. And how you do that is you look at it and you're thinking, see, I just did it by cutting the sides off. So it's really close. If it's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, just trim off the extra. So I will put it in there. I'll close my thing to look at it, and look, it's right at 5. So it's perfect. I didn't have to do much that time. So now the flap is ready. So we're getting 3 cards out of 1 envelope. That's what's really cool. The next thing you will do is you will glue this piece of paper down, the embossed one. So you're going to glue that down. You're basically going to get everything prepped. And remember, when you have embossed paper, you kind of need to put more glue, but be careful with what kind of glue you use. Some glue is very watery and it'll buckle your paper. So I prefer art glitter glue. The Stampin' Up! Glue is really good, but it's kind of sticky, so I prefer not to use that. But it is a very good glue, and you can move it around. You have a little bit of grace with it. Stick it on there just right. You're going to get your little flap. I don't need that one now. And you're going to glue it right here, okay? And you can see that this one, the one I just cut, is a little bit bigger. Oh, let me see. Hold on a second. I think, so if I go 0, that's the wrong side. That's a metric. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Let me get my ruler out then. So, it is 5 inches. Let's see what this one is. Ah, this one's a little bit bigger. That's 5 1/4. So you can use whichever one, 5 1/4 or 5 inches. It's really up to you. It's okay if you do either one because you just want a little bit of space right there. So I'm just going to do the 5 inches because that's how I cut this one, to let you know that it's okay. Now you need to decide, do you want your diamond going that way or the way I did it? It's really up to you. I think I'll do it different from last time, just for the fun, just change things up. So that's what's really neat about this, is that you don't have to go. There's no rules. It's how you like it. That's how I look at it. And when I do card classes with my seniors, they're going, oh, it's not like yours. And I said, make it your own. I just give you guidelines, I give you ideas, and then you go home and when you do it, you make it the way you want it. Now you're going to take your little piece of orange paper, which was in the kit. It's like 1/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. You want to go all the way from the top to the bottom, and you're just going to lay it right next to it and glue it down so it goes top to bottom. And if it's just a little bit too big, that's where your scissors come in. You can cut it down a little bit, because sometimes when you emboss paper, it shrinks it. So there, see how it looks perfect right there. And that covers it up so there's no like little drop off. That's what I call a drop off. So you have your flower that you already die cut out, and you have this one, which has already been stamped and die cut. You also have a butterfly, and you have a piece of paper. So the next thing, now that I have all that put together, now I'm going to do some inking. That's the fun part. Let me put my lid on my glue really quick. And then you're going to put that little needle in there, because if I don't put that in there, what happens, the glue gets clogged and it's hard to work with. So you're going to need to get scrap paper. I tend to get my mat messy if I don't use scrap paper, because you're going to be all over this mat and making messes, and that's the fun thing. So if you want to know what size I did, you can look to that. If you want the bigger one, like we did, just go by this one, the 5 1/4, just kind of cut back a little bit. You'll see that like this little edge right here, it's a little, not quite at the end, and that's why it's a little bit longer, but that's okay. It's your card. There's no right or wrong way. So I keep telling everybody. So I think I will start with the green ink. And I do have these brushes here, but the thing with these brushes, it's such a small area. I prefer to use my daubers. And you can get these anywhere. Stampin' Up! Has them, so you just kind of go off and then go on. You're going to color those. And it's okay if you go there. It's not going to hurt anything. Just go off and go on. You want to put a nice light color, not too dark. So that's why you're going off and on. So there's my green. Just going to go right there. I'm going to grab it again and do this one. Just going to go off, slightly go off, and then come into it. Okay? And I think I want this a little bit darker. Kind of. So when you first go on, go very light. And then you look at it and you're going, oh, I kind of want it darker. And you notice I'm going back and making it a little bit darker. So I'm making it stand out a little bit more because I kind of wanted the darker one. Last time I did it light, and I thought, well, this time I think I want to go a little bit darker. So now that part's done, so I'm going to go to the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start off, go light, just go in there light. So you can use markers with this if you want, but I thought this would be a fun technique to show you. Just inking it on there. So that looks really good. Well, you know, I need to do it as dark as the other one now that I think about it. There. So you're done with your green. The next color, you're going to go in with the yellow. So that's where this one, I prefer this one because it's more of a detail brush. It's a little tiny one. And you're going to go, got to make sure you go off first because this one really puts on the color fast if you're not careful. So you're going to go around, just do that. Go off and come in with the color. Okay? Go off and come in with the color. Okay? So there's my yellow. Now I'm going to go in with the orange or the tinted tiger. So I'm going to grab my dauber and make sure I have the right one. Now, sometimes I mix up my daubers. I can't remember which one is which. But it's okay, especially with light colors. I'll just kind of take most of it off. Then I'll go in and I'll bring in the orange and I'll do that. See how that kind of changed the colors? Now it's orange. So go off and come into the orange. And I do the inside a little bit darker on purpose. So go off and do this one. Okay? So now I think we need to do the butterfly. So with the butterfly, I did a little bit different. I go like this. Because I want that texture. So I did that a little bit different. Nice little texture. Then I took it and I went and did the wings a little darker on the side, the outside. Kind of makes it stand out a little bit. Kind of daub it some more, give it more color. So you're done with that. So I'll close up the inks. So you're done with the inks. The next thing that I did was I took my markers, and this is why I had the markers that I need them. Actually, I did not need the crumb cake this time. I'm sorry. That was for my other card that I did. So now you want to outline the roses so that they look not like they're not flat. You want to give like a 3D look. So you're going to go in with your orange and give it a little bit of extra color there, just along the edges. So you remember when you used to color pencils? You go in and you'd outline your images. Well, that's what I did. A lot of people didn't. And it made the picture stand out. And if you went a little bit out of the lines, you couldn't really tell. It was just really nice look to it. So if you have never done that, try it one day just for fun. Just get out your color pencils and color, but outline everything and see the difference in your picture. So just go in there. So I'm going along, just going like that. See how much the flower stands out more? And do the same thing with this one. And the nice thing about it, doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. usually what I'm doing, then I'll take and I'll just go like this, poke little dots there to make this one, see the center there? There's a little extra dimension there. So then you're gonna get your Daffodil Delight ink. And this is where I definitely like the smaller end because I'm doing a lot of detail. And you're just gonna follow the lines. Do the same thing with that one because you have a pretty yellow flower here. The names of the colors that Stampin' Up! Named are kind of interesting. I kind of like them. At first it was like, whoa, what do you mean daffodil ink? Oh, the real Daffodil Delight. Yeah. The one that I used to joke around with my friends. They had the real red. I'm thinking, well, what's the fake red if it's this one's real? Just a little joke. Sorry, ladies. I had to say it. And my friends are used to me saying that. They're going, oh, you're so silly. But seriously, real red. Come on. So then you're going to go in with the green. And all you're going to do is just do the middles of these leaves. And you notice how everything's standing out now? It's just really standing out as opposed to just laying there flat. It's just something I like to do. I like to do outlining. So now I'll go do this one. And it doesn't take any more time. That's what's nice. It just gives a little extra beauty to it and everything. Okay, so now we've done that. So I'm going to get out my orange diamond dots. Ooh, I poured a little too much. That's okay. And I want to glue the inside of the butterfly in. So I'm going to put a little glue right here. Put it on there. Very simple. Okay. And then I'm going to put 4 little diamond dots on here. So I'm going to put 4 dots. 2, 3, and 4. Let it set for a second. Because it always does better if you let it sit. Find my top. And while that is sitting, I'm going to get my dimensionals out. Because I put these ones out, the small ones, but I think I need the bigger ones. These ones are too small. Well, here they are. Here's the big ones. So you're going to put dimensionals on the back of this big one. Put your dimensionals on. Then you're going to bring it over here, set that up there. Bring your card into play. But wait, let's put those dots on. The glue is set up pretty much easier. There it is. I was looking for my take a pick tool. So now watch what happens. It just goes on there and sticks to it. Figure that out after a while. Let it sit for a couple seconds and then you don't have to worry about it coming off really quick. Sometimes I lay it on there and it just comes up right away. It's like, ah. Oh. Because it's stuck to the take or pick tool. It has like a little sticky thing on here. See, what's cool about this little take or pick, see, it has like a little putty in there. And that's what sticks to it. If you ever done diamond dots, they have like a wax. It's the same thing. So here's your little butterfly. Okay. Now if that's done, let's go ahead and lay down our flower. Pull off all the little backings. There's that one, there's that one. Okay. So let's put the flower, how about right there? Have a little bit over. And then this one, you want to overlap it so it gives some leaves right there, kind of like that. Or you can put it up there. You know, you could do it like that. You could put the leaves under it, but I kind of want to put it on top. Or you could do it like this and put it right next to this one. So you could decide what you want. I'm kind of liking it like that. So now I'm going to put my dimensionals on. So now, see, now that I know where it's going, I know where to put the dots. If it's going to lay over, you don't want to put dots there. So I think I'm going to put a dot there and a dot there. Okay. Then, oh, grab my glue. I know it's overlapping here and here. So I'll pull off the dots. Have my glue on there, of course. And that's so that that edge will stick. And it'll stick to the other part of the flower. So I'm going to put that right there. So it just slightly overlaps. Kind of have the little orange showing through back there in the background. So there you go. Now we're going to get our butterfly. And you're only going to put glue in the middle. And I think I will place him right here. Lift up his wings. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp Happy Anniversary. So we're going to grab our Happy Anniversary, which I already have mounted. And I'm going to get my Versamark ink. You could use the Secret Sea also, because that's a nice dark one. I just didn't think about it. When I did this one, did this particular saying, the Happy Anniversary. So then we're going to line it up the best we can. Hold it down, and there it is. Oh, that turned out really good, see? So, where's here it is. Clean off the stamp. Now this is like a, I don't know, chamois that Stampin' Up! Sells. It's really good. I keep forgetting to get it wet. I finally got it wet so I could show you what I do when I clean them. Usually I don't use baby wipes, but sometimes I do. But it leaves like a lint on the stamp. Sorry, I had to get a drink. My mouth is getting dry. So then I have to sit there and mess with it till I get the hair off or whatever's on there, lint. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your scissors and you're going to cut it right there. Right there. You're going to do like an angle cut. Another thing that I like to do, which I think works out really well, I'm going to bring back in my little sponges, and I'm going to color the ends. So I'm going to see what color is that one. That one's yellow. Here's the orange one. Nope, that one's yellow too. I'll just have to dip it back in there. So I'll dip it in here really quick. It's orange again. So I'm going to go off and just put a little color at the end. See, I just put just a tiny bit of color so it's not so stark. Okay? And I have one strip of paper here that I thought would look really nice there. So now I'm going to glue that on the back, like so. And I'm going to trim it too. So it goes a little bit longer than that, so it goes a little bit longer than the other one. And that gives a little bit of texture. Put that in the trash really quick. Okay, move that out of the way. So now I'll put this up on dimensionals too. I only need 2 of them for that. Okay. And then set that right there. And that looks pretty good. Next thing I'll do is I'll put some glue down here and add them to my card. So I'll put one, get that cleaned off there, one right there. I tend to like to put more than 3 sometimes, but sometimes I only put 3. So I think I'll do 5 on this one. So that's 3, 4, 5, no, maybe 7, 6, and I don't know, maybe right here. Okay. That was my dimensional sticking out. I just fixed it. It was sticking out a tiny bit and I didn't like it. If you get a dimensional that's kind of sticking out, you just kind of like take your scissors or whatever you have and just kind of poke it back like that, and it moves it out of the way. So let that set up for a couple seconds and find my take a pick tool and get my dots ready. Okay, if I start with the first one, yep, perfect. So let's go along and put the dots on here. And it just makes it really pretty. Just adds a little bit, and it's sparkly too. When you get it just right. I hope you can see this on the camera with the sparkles to it. I have to look in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, see if there's any little orange dots. Sometimes they have, oh, you know what? I think I want one right there. I think I need one right here. Feels like it's naked there. Okay, so I did an even number this time, it looks like. Maybe I've had a better find another spot. What do you think? Yeah, I should. I'll just go up here. That way it's odd. I do tend to do a lot of dots, more than a lot of people, but sometimes I stick to the 3, but a lot of times I do more than 3. Put that in. Okay, let's see. Wait 2 seconds. Where did I put that first one? Right there. Oh, it's stuck. Yes. Good, it's stuck. Didn't have a problem. So that's the card. Now, we're going to stamp the inside and color it. So I'll move these out of the way. That won't take very long. So we'll take this and grab my Secret C, because it does better when you do coloring, the Secret C. Much better, trust me. So I will put my stamp closer to the top. That way, let's stamp it on here. Perfect, okay. So I'll stamp it right here. Hold it down for a second and then lift it up. Perfect stamp. Let it dry for a couple seconds. Sometimes I just kind of talk to you while it's drying, and I don't really say anything about it drying, but I like to do that because sometimes if you don't let it dry, it'll smear. So clean off my stamp. And just let it air dry. So while this is drying, getting ready to color, I will grab my envelope, which is right here, and get my Granny Apple Green, and I will stamp the envelope. I think I'll put one right there, there, and maybe a little bit right there. Okay, maybe I'll put it on the flap. I do like it on the flap. Sometimes I just don't do it. There. So the envelope was done. I better do this other one. I thought I could get away with just doing what sometimes I just can't handle. I need to have both flap and the front. Kind of, I don't know, people when I send out cards, they like it when I have everything decorated. It's always fun for them. And I pushed down too hard, and that's why there's ink all over it. So I didn't have to, but I did. But I noticed that when I was getting ready to stamp it, so I just kind of compensated. I didn't press real hard. Okay, that one's clean. So the next step is we're going to color our flower. So I'm going to get the Granny Apple Green. And this is where I like to use the bigger one because I can just go right in and do it really fast. I really love these markers. Thank you, Lori. She gave them to me. It's just, I'm so happy. And the seniors got to use them today. I have to teach them a little bit more about it because they pushed down too hard, and they well, not hard. They kind of bent it a little bit, but it wasn't that much. But they were when they were doing it, they didn't know. They kept going over and over, and what happened was the the stamped image ink started coming off onto their image, so they didn't have a really pretty color as what they wanted. So I explained to them, let's do a little more practicing on the other images. And they said yes. So they're just sad that their stamped image didn't turn out as good, but that's how you learn. That's how I learned. Just doing it over and over and figuring it out. So they're figuring it out. But I always bring color pencils so they could choose from them. And some are going, oh no, I'm not doing markers. I'm doing color pencils. And some says, I need to try it. I need to try it, which that's how I am. I want to try it. I got to try it. I got to learn. So a long time ago, I never used markers until I had a friend show me, this is what you need to do. And I'm going, aha. Oh, I got to do the inside. So when you do the inside, you want to use this other end because use the other one, it messes up the end piece. This one you could do that with. The other end you should not do that because that little, see the end right here? See how it's nice and sharp? And if you press down a lot, it'll get all flat and ruined, and then you can't really color really good detail. Just a little lesson in the markers. So here's our color. Here's our card. Here's the inside. Happy anniversary. Now this card is going to go to my church. So I have 2 cards prepared for next month's anniversary for the church. So thank you for watching my video. I appreciate that, and have a great evening. Bye.